He had just signed with Don King. There were talks about an impending fight with Mike Tyson, and he was newly engaged. But it all unraveled just hours before his scheduled bout on February 10th, when he was told he had contracted HIV. The news rocked the boxing world and devastated Morrison, who flew home to Oklahoma to contemplate his future. I went there to talk with him about what he now considers to be the greatest fight of his life. At 4 o'clock Friday morning, a knock at his door.
How you doing, man? Paramedic. All right?
A paramedic came to awaken Tommy Morrison and get 4 vials of his blood. Doctors in New York needed them to determine how far Morrison's HIV infection had progressed, and the samples were rushed out of Tulsa on the first flight.
Roll your tapes.
Just hours earlier, in a public confession about his personal nightmare, Morrison pleaded with his young fans to abstain from casual sex, and he warned those he may have had sex with.
If there's anyone out there that feels that they have come in contact with me, either directly or indirectly, I would truly encourage them to get themselves tested.
90 minutes after leaving the podium, he sat down to talk about what he sees as his reckless past.
People ask me, well, how many women have you been with? Well, I mean, too many.
Did you ever practice protected sex?
When I was younger, I did. But since then, I walked around thinking that I was bulletproof for a little too long.
Good right uppercut. Oh, that was up on.
For a while, he seemed invincible. He had survived a brutal climb from a hard-scrabble childhood in Jay, Oklahoma. Father and grandfather were prize fighters, and Tommy Morrison started by brawling in county fairs and local tough man competitions. In 1993, against all odds, he made it to the pinnacle of the boxing world.
For the winner and new champion, Tommy the Duke Morrison.
He was already a star out of the ring. His aggressive style and good looks brought him to the attention of Sylvester Stallone, and he was cast in Rocky V.
I feel weak. Listen to me. I feel weak. Shut up. Listen.
It was life in the fast lane, legions of women, long nights of partying.
I lived in Kansas City for about 6 years. 3 of those 6 years was a time in my life where I got out of control with that sort of thing.
Although he doesn't entirely dismiss the possibility he contracted HIV from an open cut while boxing, he's afraid it's his own fault.
Through being very promiscuous 3 or 4 years ago, there was a time that being with women was a priority in my life.
And you never had relationships that were either homosexual or involved with drug use?
No, never.
So you've absolutely ruled that out?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's no way that could happen.
Over time, all his late-night carousing took a toll on Tommy Morrison. The one-time champion began losing fights he was expected to win. And worse, he was arrested and charged with assaulting 2 women, including his ex-girlfriend, the mother of one of his children. He says he's innocent. But recently, he was given another chance at salvaging his career, and this time, he took it seriously. His big comeback was set to be launched Saturday, February 10th in Las Vegas.
Hard-hitting Tommy the Duke Morrison meets Arthur Weathers in a 10-round heavyweight bout.
A few hours before the fight, he was going through his normal pre-bout routine, a walk along the strip to relieve the jitters.
Once I got back to the room, was a message there.
The message was to come and see his promoter, Tony Holden.
I went in and sat down and obviously knew something was wrong. I looked at Tony. Tony told me that he didn't know any other way to do it other than just tell me. And he told me that I'd failed my medical exam. At that point, I knew what it had to be.
Did you sit there for a couple of minutes? Did you say, I got to go home, talk to my family?
I knew I had to get out of there, and I went right, packed my stuff, went right to the airport, and caught the first plane out of there.
You by yourself?
Yeah, just by myself.
What was going through your head?
I guess I just couldn't believe that I had to know something was up. I must have looked like a ghost sitting there.
In a shocking development earlier today,
But the news had beaten Tommy Morrison back to Tulsa.
This is the Weekend News.
Tommy Morrison was informed by the Nevada Boxing Commission that his fight was off, that he had flunked a physical.
Did you feel that this story kind of got away from you, that all of a sudden the whole world knew you had tested HIV positive?
Well, yeah, I felt that way, but that part of it really didn't bother me. The part that affected me most was I just wanted to get to where my family was and reassure them that everything was going to be okay, regardless of what the results were.
Even though he wasn't sure everything was okay, he was worried about his fiancée, Dawn Freeman.
I don't think I had the courage to tell her face to face. I called her from the plane and told her that I had failed my medical exam. I didn't tell her why I'd failed it until I got home. At that point, obviously, my first response was for her to get herself tested. And today we found out that she is negative.
In the 10 short days since he learned he was HIV positive, he has seen how difficult living a normal life might be.
You know, you're constantly questioning yourself about what people are going to think, how they're going to treat you, whether you're going to be welcome to go into the same places that you used to go into.
Are you afraid about going back to the gym, what people are going to say, how they're going to look at you?
That's funny. I just went to my gym last night in Jay, Oklahoma, where I work out. I walked in, the guy that owns the place, he said, "You know, you cost me a customer today." I said, "What do you mean?" He said that the gentleman that had been a member there for some time asked for his money back and left.
What went through your mind when you heard that story and you went in to work out?
That was the first time that I put myself in a position to think how all these other people that do have this disease, that are homosexuals and that are discriminated against. You know, it put me in that situation.
But along with the discrimination and fear, he's also being shown support and affection. And in Tulsa last week, Tommy Morrison, his career at an end, was still the champ.
Take care. This is it. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears in here.
Is this where you're most comfortable?
I'm probably as comfortable here as I am in my living room.
Yeah?
I probably spend more time here than I do in my living room. So.
But he will never train again for a professional fight.
You know, the type of money that slipped through my fingers with this test coming up positive is it's unbelievable. It's a lot of money.
That you could have made.
Sure.
There were talks of a bout with Tyson.
Absolutely.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Gone.
Gone.
I tell you what, you're going to give me a number and I'm going to call you back with it.
In the last several days, as they dealt with his shattered career, Morrison's camp has been barraged by calls from all over the world.
We got the London Sun coming in Sunday night, and I told them that we'd probably sit down with them Monday or Tuesday.
But perhaps the most important call for Morrison came from Magic Johnson.
He pretty much talked, and I listened, and I actually felt very good after I got off the phone.
Johnson has obviously kept himself in excellent shape despite his AIDS infection, and Morrison vows to do the same. On Friday, he accepted an offer to team up with the basketball star to help educate young people about AIDS prevention. Morrison says stopping the spread of HIV is now his first priority. Can you believe you, Tommy Morrison, is talking about abstinence?
I can believe it today. You know, this is something that obviously in no way, shape, or form discriminates, and it doesn't have a favorite color. It doesn't matter who you are. It can get you. It got me, and now I've got to pay the ultimate price.